Well, there are more than 120,000 military veterans who call the state of Maine home. But for active duty military, returning home and finding a job right away is not always easy. WMTW News 8's Katie Thompson introduces us to a group of people helping to change just that.
Each year, hundreds of men and women from Maine join branches of our country's military. Many of them have dreams of eventually coming home. Now, there's a new organization working to make those dreams a reality, putting the spotlight on visibility and employment to help move men and women from their boots to their roots. Much like the foundation used to build a house or the mortar that holds this chimney together, our roots are what help us become, well, who we are.
Being in Maine, it's where my family's from. You know, it's where I grew up, so it's going to be back up here.
Matt Norris of Casco works part-time as a masonry apprentice. When he's not working, he's studying physical therapy at the University of Southern Maine. At just 26 years old, Matt Norris is a U.S. Marine veteran. He spent 7 months on the front lines in Afghanistan and completed rigorous training in Japan.
Definitely learn a lot about yourself, about what you can do, you know.
His transition back to his roots appears effortless. Matt credits his job with keeping him happy, active, and focused. But his story is one that unfortunately not every active duty or veteran military member can relate to.
For a lot of our folks coming home, that's their number one challenge is getting a job right away.
Dave Hickey is the founder of Boots to Roots, an organization started several months ago to help place military Mainers in fulfilling jobs. The West Gardner native spent more than 25 years as an aviator in the Air Force before returning to Maine to raise his kids. But at first, he realized he was more disconnected than connected to his home state as he bounced from interview to interview.
One person in HR told me with those many deployments, I don't know how you can have PTSD.
Immediate employment is crucial, Hickey says, for a successful transition from military to civilian life.
That reintegration piece with their peers is vital because they're used to very active lifestyles.
Take Rick Tufts, for example. The Livermore Falls native left Maine in '91. He's made a career as a combat engineer in the Army ever since. He's currently stationed in Germany, but will be starting a new life back home in June after 24 years of service.
Being in Maine and being home with our family and having a Sunday dinner or going to the fishing or just doing all those things I grew up doing, I really love, and that's what's drawing me back.
Tufts holds the rank of Sergeant Major, the most senior enlisted member of the Army. For someone trained in military language, that's not always easy to translate.
I trained about 60,000 people last year on different military tasks from 27 different countries over here. So, but my experience is in taking that kind of information and telling you this is why I'm a good leader and why I would benefit your organization.
The other piece of Boots to Roots focuses on communicating military skills and experience in a language that any HR professional can understand.
I think there are some amazing services in place, but there are some gaps in how we're helping our veterans.
To help, Hickey and his team work with men and women on resumes, interview skills, and networking.
We want to be able to remove some of that risk so that we can go to a hiring manager or a recruiter or someone with a complete profile. Here's their story, here's who they are, here's what they bring to the table, and here's how they can help.
And we thank all of these men and women for their service, and we look forward to having them home. If you would like to get involved with Boots to Roots in any way, you can email boots2roots@gmail.com. In the studio, I'm Katie Thompson, WMTW News 8.